Love and light, guys. It is Brittany is Blessed, also known as Brittany Butterfly. Today we're going to do a devotion called The Consequences of Anger. Have you guys ever felt so angry that you felt like you could not control your emotions and that you just let it consume you? Well, this devotion is for you. So first, I want you to know that I'm very grateful for you guys joining in on this devotion with me. You can always join me on the Bible app, which is YouVersion. So this is a 7-day devotion. So we can always, go back into it if you guys feel like this was useful. Other than that, let's get right on into it. Anger affects our lives psychologically, and emotionally, and spiritually. It's also influence our performance in completing tasks or fulfilling our work responsibilities. Anger is never entirely self-contained. It always has consequences that touch those around us. More important, anger has an impact on God. So what do you guys think about that? How does anger impact on God? Like, how does that affect God? Well, if we look at Cain and Abel, Cain killed Abel because he had a jealous heart, and he let anger consume him because he was so upset that his brother Abel had found favor in God. And instead of Cain, showing his work, showing his performance that he can be, ready for God, sacrifice things for God, he chose to let anger consume him where he killed his own brother. So that's how anger impacts God, because God doesn't like that we sin, right? So anger causes sin if we let it consume us, because God said we can be angry but sin not. So it says anger in your health. More and more scientific and medical researchers are finding that a significant number of serious diseases, including some of the most deadly, are chronic in nature, related to our lifestyle choices and linked to the way we think or process our emotions. Anger certainly is one of the negative emotions that has been linked to a wide variety of alignments. God didn't create the human body to accommodate long-term anger. The medical profession currently puts high cholesterol, smoking, and anger on an equal footing when it comes to their destructive influence. Anger has both immediate and lasting effects. So this passage here tells me that not only does anger affect you emotionally and intellectually, it has something to do, like it intoxicates your spirit. Because when we sin against God, of course, we get into this emotion of guilt. We start to feel bad because why? We want to please God. We want him to be, pleased with us and pleased with how we behave and how we live our lives. And with us allowing anger to consume us, we allow sin to step in also. And not only does anger affect you emotionally and intellectually, but it also affects you physically, because medically wise, anger causes stress. It causes depression. It causes, illness and sickness and stuff like that, like migraines. Have you ever noticed that when you get angry, you get a headache? Have you ever noticed that once you get angry, you start screaming to the top of your lungs, and then you end up having a sore throat, or maybe hoarse from speaking, like you can't even speak anymore? Well, those are the medical concerns that we're talking about right now. And so when a person becomes angry, his heart beats faster, blood pressure rises, and hands begin to sweat. These natural responses occur immediately and require no thought or attention. Muscle tense and digestion is hindered. The face turns red and the person tends to speak in a louder than normal voice. All these are outcomes that God created as part of our fight or flight response. That dangerous or a threat. Let me just click out of here, y'all. Okay. In addition, the body produces a surge of adrenaline to deal with crisis. This allows the person to have a greater strength to fight or run away as fast as possible. But adrenaline can be both friend and foe. So adrenaline can be good, because let's say you need to run a marathon and you need the energy to get going. That adrenaline gives you the energy that you need, to win the race. Now, also the adrenaline that you get when you're angry, it could be a foe because the more adrenaline you have when you're angry, the more you are quick to do a flight or fight response. And most of the time it's a fight response because you want to protect yourself from danger. So both adrenaline can be a yin and a yang. It's just basically how we control it. We have to be in control. We cannot allow this emotion control us. And so God doesn't want it to control us or consume us because he wants us to be responsible and he wants us to lean towards him in these moments. When anger is suppressed, the body continues to produce adrenaline in small quantities to address the perceived danger that the mind and heart indicates is present. Over time, the drip, drip, drip of adrenaline and other hormones within the human body is extremely tremental. Sorry. It produces a state of internal stress, a little like trying to drive with one foot on the gas pedal and the other on the brake. So it's like you're trying to stop, but you also going. You're trying to stop and you're trying to. It's like you're also trying to mediate a fight. Like if you're a mediator. I don't know if you were in school. You ever heard of school peer mediators? And you have two flames of fire going at each other. And you're trying to tame one fire. You're pouring water on the other. And it's slowly going down. But then you have somebody else throwing logs onto it, which is also causing the fire to go up. So anyhow, it says the long-term effect includes ulcers, heart alignments, stroke, arthritis, and depression. Every system and organ in the body is affected in a negative way. Rather than own up to anger, people tend to attribute negative physical symptoms to stress. They're either not aware or refuse to acknowledge the anger that is to blame. A doctor once said to me, "It seems a third of my patients are on stomach meds, a third are on pain meds, and the rest are on tranquilizers. And most of them wouldn't need any of them if they deal with the emotional issues in their lives." So right here in this passage, it's saying that not only does anger causes so much stress and it causes so much, pain to others and to yourself, but you causing yourself a long-term death note, because eventually that's what it leads to. When you're taking all these pain medications and you're stressed out, depressed, and stuff like that, it eventually leads to a long-term contract of you being sick, and sickness eventually turns into death. And that's why, even if you are sick right now, you can do things to change your life. It's really about how in control you are. No matter if you have a disease that's, that could potentially be life-threatening. Like, I know I was reading a article about cancer, and usually cancer is known to be a life death sentence or whatever, but it was known for many patients to have changed their that sentence into remission because of the way they handled their emotions. They thought positive. They didn't look at it as I'm going to die. They looked at it as this is a chance for me to live my life better. And so the patients that looked at it from that perspective compared to the ones who looked at it as, oh, I'm going to die, those patients had went into remission and also beat cancer. So it is a saying of you are who you are as a man think of. A man is as good as he think, or something like that. I'm not sure of how it is. As a man thinketh, so he is. That's what it is. As a man thinketh, so he is. So it's like if you going around thinking like I'm sick, I'm about to die and all this stuff. I mean, eventually with those type of thoughts, you bringing that type of energy towards you. And so with you thinking anger or being angry all the time, those are the type of emotions that's going to be attached to you, the type of energy that's going to be attached to you. And then eventually all the other negative energies start to go on to you as well. So what else did it say? A few months ago, a man came forth at the end of the church service. He was bent over and used a cane. He heard me talk about the negative physical effects of anger and said, Dr. Stanley, the doctors have told me that my stroke was caused by anger. I'm in the shape I am today because of anger. Tell people that anger could do what anger could do to them, what it did to me. No issue, no amount of anger is worth holding on to. Destroy your path. So I just feel like this whole passage here is just letting us know how anger affects us. It just affects us truly, and we need to give it up, and we need to ask God to not allow anger to consume us. Proverbs 19 verse 11 says, a person wisdom yields patience. It is to one glories to overlook an offense. So that is the end of the devotion, guys. I hope you guys liked it, this devotion. This devotion was from Charles F. Stanley. If you haven't heard of Dr. Charles Stanley, look him up on YouTube. He's a really good preacher. Also, if you want to follow this devotion with me, as I said before, my name is Brittany Sheridan on the YouVersion app, Bible app. Otherwise, like, subscribe, and comment below what you thought of this devotion. And I hope you guys have a great night or day wherever you are a part of the world. Other than that, love and light.